Welcome back. In this video, we're going to talk about linking multiple actions in a row. So if you have a sentence that has more than one action in it, but they're linked through some sort of connection and meaning, how do you do that in Chinese? Let me give you an example in English. We will, in order to link verb phrases in English, we'll often use words like and to or for. For example, go to the park and take a walk. Go to the park. I'm going to go to the park and take a walk. So go to the park is one phrase, one verb phrase, and take a walk is another word phrase. So you can, even though I'm using the word and, there's like a purpose connection. The reason I'm going to the park, well, I'm going to the park so I can take a walk, or both of them, I'm going to the park because I enjoy the park, and while I'm there, I'm going to take a walk. So those actions are linked together. In Chinese, in the vast majority of cases, no linking word at all is used. Just putting the phrases side by side will tell the listener what is happening and the purpose for them, for the actions. Let me give you some examples. 我要去公园走走. 我要去公园走走. So here we have I want or will go, and then we have 公园 park, 走走 walk. Remember the reduplication of verbs? So it just makes it sound more casual. 我要去公园走走. So we have the phrase 去公园, go to the park. And then we have the phrase walk. So in English we would say to. I'm going to the park to walk. But here there's no linking word. It's just go park, walk. Go park, walk. And it makes absolute sense in Chinese. There's a clear connection for the purpose about what's happening here. Here's a 我们回学校吃饭吧. 我们回学校吃饭吧. Ba makes it a suggestion. So it's kind of saying let us. We return to the school or campus. We return to the campus, eat ba. So in English, we would say to. Let's go back to the campus to eat. In Chinese, it's just we go back to campus, eat ba. There's no connecting word. 我是 here we have 我是开车去北京的. So first thing I want you to notice is the 是 the construction. That we're telling we're giving an extra detail about a fact that we already know. This sentence is 我是开车去北京. I drive car to go to Beijing. So the person knows I went to Beijing, but I'm telling them I went by car. So 我是开车去北京的. Now 开车 is one phrase that means drive vehicle or drive car. 去北京 is the other phrase, and there's no linking word. I don't say I went by car, or I guess I should say it more directly so it makes more sense. I drive to go to Beijing. Now we wouldn't say it like that in English, but that's what is being communicated here. 我是开车去北京的. So 开车 and 去北京, 开车 drive car, 去北京 go to Beijing. They're linked phrases, but there's no linking word. It's just to put side by side. Here I have a sentence from All Set Learning, and it's a great one because in all of my examples use the word 去. That's one of the verbs. This one doesn't use 去, gives you another example outside of that box. 你打电话告诉他了吗? So 你 is you. 打电话 means to make a phone call or call somebody. 告诉他了. 告诉他 means tell him. So you, and then ma makes it a question. So did you tell him? Did you tell him? What's the point? Did you call to tell him? Did you call and tell him? Did you call and tell him whatever you were supposed to call and tell him? Did you call and tell him? That's how we would say that. A lot of English speakers will want to, in this kind of sentence, insert the word 和, which means and. But remember, 和 links to nouns, not to verbs, and so or to separate independent clauses. It links to nouns, so it can't work at all here. And also, it's just not no connecting word is necessary here. It's just call, tell him. Did you call, tell him? And that's enough to make it clear what the meaning is. So that's how you do it. In the vast majority of cases, you just take the two connected phrases and you just put them side by side. And usually the context will tell you what the connection, the meaning connection between the two phrases is. Hey, in this segment, we're going to talk about verbs that take indirect objects. So let's go back a second and talk about what indirect objects are. In the sentence, I gave him a pen. Gave who a pen? I gave him. That's the indirect object. The direct object is pen. So I gave what? I gave a pen. I gave it to whom? Him. I gave him a pen. You can also say in that sentence, I gave a pen to him. And in that case, we changed it around, and now there's no indirect object. We use a prepositional phrase to him to communicate the same idea. In Chinese and English, the same is true, that some verbs can take indirect objects and some verbs can't. Let me first start by giving you an example of a sentence, of a verb and a sentence that uses an indirect object in Chinese. This is 给我你用的笔. 给我你用的笔. This is, it's give me, 给我, 给我, give me. So me is the direct object. Give is the verb. It's a command, so there's no subject. Give me, 给我. Give me, give it to me. Give me, that's direct, indirect object. What? The pen. Which pen? The pen that you're using. 给我你用的笔. So 你用 means you use the笔. Now notice here, I slipped in a little bit of a review about those phrase plus the. Here we have pen, and then we have an adjective phrase, you use. Which pen? The one that you are using. 你用的笔. So that's from earlier in the week. 你用的笔. So if I take away the 你用的, just to make it very simple, it would be 给我笔. 给我笔. So give me the pen. Which one? Give me the pen that you're using. Give me the pen. So me is the indirect object, pen is the direct object. So let me give you an example. The catch is that in both languages, some verbs take indirect objects and some don't, and you just have to learn them. There's no way for you to know whether they do or don't. For example, in English, I can tell you a story. I can sing you a song, but I can't speak you a few words. I can speak a few words with you. So I use the prepositional phrase in that and use it with speak to say that. But but I can't say I speak you a few words. Exactly the same in English. In fact, I run into this all the time when I know a verb, I know a phrase, but I don't know how to add in the to whom part of it. Right now, I have my wife and I have a baby who's still drinks milk, nurses, and takes bottles. And I know the way to say nurse or to give milk in Chinese. It's 喂奶. It means literally to feed milk. 喂奶. But I don't know how to say feed the baby milk or nurse the baby because I don't know where to put the baby. So I don't know whether to say 给宝宝喂奶 or 喂宝宝奶. I don't know if it's an indirect object thing or if I need to use a prepositional phrase like 给. This here is a verb, not a prepositional phrase, just to be not confusing. But that's an example of, I speak Chinese relatively well, but I don't know that, and I just have to learn. I have to ask somebody or look it up in a book somehow to know whether that verb can take an indirect object or not. So unfortunately, that's the way it is. But fortunately for you and me, that the word order, when there is an indirect object, the word order is exactly like it is in English. 给我你用的笔. Give me the pen. So I mean, this part is not the same, but the direct object, indirect object placement is exactly the same. Some common verbs that take indirect objects in Chinese. Now, I think in Chinese, I'm pretty sure this is true, there are fewer verbs in Chinese that take indirect objects than in English. I don't know that that's true, but that's my sense. Here are some common ones that do take indirect objects. 给, to give. 问, to ask. Let me ask you a question. 我问你一个问题. I'm going to ask you a question. 送 it's also to give, but it's like to give a gift. 叫 to call, like you could call somebody a name. Or 叫他 Eldon. 告诉 to tell. So tell him a fact. Not tell a story. It's actually a different word in Chinese, but tell somebody a fact. 骗 to swindle. So in Chinese you can say, he swindled me $5. In English you can't say that, but in Chinese you can. 借 to borrow or to 他借了我 he lent me. He lent me something. 发 is to send, like send a message, that kind of thing. So these are verbs that take indirect objects. And so hopefully that's helpful. Keep on going. You are doing great. Don't give up.